Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Career Launch Club podcast. I'm your host, Curtis Swisher, and I'm excited to introduce today's guest to you. It's our daughter, Katherine Swisher. Katherine lives in Dallas, Texas, and she works for Train Technologies. Katherine graduated from college from Texas A&M about a year and a half ago, and I want you to hear her story about college and her career launch today. I think it can help a lot of young people. So, Katherine, it's great to have you today. How are things in Dallas?
Good. Thanks for having me, Dad.
Let's just jump right in with our questions. So, what was your college major and how did you choose it?
Basically, when you apply to college, you have to declare a major. And I knew that I loved science and math, and I kind of just chose a generic science degree. I chose biology when I was declaring my major when I applied. My older brother was a biology major, and I knew that was generic, so I picked it. There was also a time in high school where I thought I was going to go pre-med, and that's a really good pre-med generic science to go with, but I quickly found out I did not want to do pre-med. But before I went to college, I knew that I wanted to change majors. I just didn't really know how to go about that. But you can't change majors until after your first semester in most cases. I had a key interest in environmental science. I knew that from my senior year of high school. I really was interested in environmental science and sustainability. And so I was talking to a friend of mine, and he suggested that I do environmental engineering. And so that was kind of what I was leaning towards switching to my first semester. But at A&M, environmental engineering is not its own major. It is part of the civil engineering department, and it hadn't had developed enough to have a lot of focus on environmental. So I decided to not take that route. Since I was already at A&M, I wanted to stay at A&M and not find environmental engineering elsewhere. I looked at what other environmental degrees that they had, and they actually had 7 environmentally focused degrees at A&M. And so that's a lot and a little overwhelming to look at, but I sat down with my mom and my dad, and we went through every single one. There's different kinds, including environmental law, environmental studies, conservation biology, all of that, a mix of bachelor's of arts and bachelor's of science as well. So we ruled out a Bachelor of Arts because I knew that bachelors of science were going to be more marketable for when I go into my career. And so that narrowed it down to about 3 or 4, I think. And so from there, I looked at the course catalog, which is the biggest thing to do whenever you're choosing a major, is looking at the course catalog to find classes that you're actually interested in. If you're not going to be interested in the classes, the title of the degree, it won't matter. So that was a big thing for me. I also looked at the careers and the salaries that graduates from that degree have at A&M. A&M has this great resource where you can get online and you can read all about past graduates and the statistics, what their salaries are, what their job titles are. So that was huge. There were a few job titles in that really stuck out to me. And then how I added, so this is getting kind of long, but then as I started taking classes and I switched over to bioenvironmental science as my major, I had always had I looked up to this lady that was also the same friend's mom, and she worked as a safety manager at a large chemical company in my hometown. And I was always really intrigued by her career, and I would talk to her about it all the time. And so I decided to take one of my electives, my open classes, I could choose any class, as a safety class. And I fell in love, I was hooked, and I decided to take all my rest of my electives as safety courses. And that ended up giving me a minor in occupational health and safety. So I was very excited to learn that environmental science and safety go hand in hand and is actually one career field, and it's called environmental health and safety. And that was my goal. And so my studies and my major and my minor really set me up for success for a career in environmental health and safety.